What is up, folks? I am Strident, and this time I am here with a point of view spot on Articulation on the new Marvel Legends versus everything else. So my son, he digs the new, the characters that were offered in the new Return of Marvel Legends. I want to say wave, what is that, 1? He really wanted to put together Terrax. So with that in mind, I decided to help him. Here is her gun, Hope's gun. She doesn't hold it really well. But he pointed out a number of things to me that were problems with a lot of these figures, and I decided I would help him. Together we have the whole wave. I have Thor, Steve Rogers, and Ghost Rider. He has everybody else. The biggest issue is the Y joint hips. They're horrible. Now the difference is as such. This is a cheap figure, right? Legs, you just grab them, move them. Basic hip joint with the rotating hip or rotation at the hip. Very simple, right? This is how it's always been done for years and years and years. Move on to G.I. Joe, a little more expensive. Same deal, except your barbell or dumbbell going across is metal. That's my custom Contra Red. Now you think this would be simple. Let's move on to Hope. Now with Hope, you have to twist her leg first and then move it in the direction that the ball socket is already pointing, you know, and once you get it there, you can't move it anywhere else but the direction you took it to in the first place. So you see that line, that's directional. You can only move in the direction of that line. In order to get the outward motion, you would have to twist that line all the way to the outside of her body in order to get that. So as you can see, it's going only upward, or now I've pointed it in, so it can only go outward, in and out, but it can't go up and down. Now I put it outward a little bit more, so she can go up and down, but she still can't go in and out. The knees and everything is cool, but hips, you're limited. It sucks, because you should have freedom. I mean, it's a Marvel Legends figure. This is how it's been done, right? Now here we have Blue Beetle, DCUC, H joint. It can move wherever you want it. And the H joint is made up of 2 joints, the horizontal and the vertical. And that's where it gets the H. I mean, this is how it should be done. It's very simple, right? Once again, I can move her leg where I want to based on my knowledge of where that joint moves to. But if you were just to pick that figure up thinking that she has the same freedom of motion that other figures have, you'd be screwed. Completely. I mean, you can move outward, but you can't move up and down at the same time. See, even with a little bit of effort, I still can't get it to move because the joint does not allow for it. Her other joints are fine, though. And then here's her gun. She has issues holding the gun. The main thing is that the gun was not designed for this figure. Even though it's Cable's gun, which is cool, it still was not designed with her in mind. She has a trigger finger, and there's a trigger hole for her to put her finger in, but as you can see, she can't really get the most realistic positioning with this gun. You can't get her to look down the sights. You know, there's a scope on the gun. It's really difficult to get her to shoulder the weapon the right way so that she can look down the sights. This is the best way for me to get her to hold that gun so it looks kind of tactical, but look at how far away her eyes are from the actual gun, and it's really difficult to get her to do so. Her hair is in the way. I'm gonna have to cut the back of that gun short so that she can hold it properly. But once again, this is what we're talking about. You know, he pointed this out because he watches me do this with my Joes. He sees them look down their sights, steel sights, scope, whatever. You see me do it with other figures like Deathstroke. Now the engineering of the figure should have been as such where it allows for her to have this kind of motion, but it didn't. On a side note, look at how fast I got her back in standing position. I watch a lot of reviews where I see these cats who supposedly collect struggling with that. But anyway, Blue Beetle. It's a DCUC figure. He does not have holding things hands. And I am going to get him to hold this gun like a pro. You know, I'm going to get him as close to looking in the scope as I can get him. And you'll see that the engineering of the DCUC figure, for whatever reason, allows for him to do more natural stuff, like him holding the gun under with the buttstock under his arm. Hope can do that too, but it's just really natural. And for someone who does not have hands that are supposed to be for holding things, it's kind of crazy that I can pull this off with him and not so much with her. Now, as you can see, here he is, a character who does not use handguns, holding her gun that's meant for cable the correct way, looking down the length of the gun. If I lower it a little bit, he could actually look straight down the sights, but I want it to be a little bit more fair and not completely upstage Hope. But look at him. He's looking down the length of the gun. It looks proper. His face is closer to the gun. It actually looks like he knows what he's doing. I mean, this would be awesome for a custom because he can hold all these different guns with no problem. But you would think by now that, engineering a figure so that it can do the things that it's set up to do, it would be a no-brainer. And also, when you watch reviews, I've seen reviews of the Blue Beetle figure where people either didn't understand who he was, they didn't know a lot about him or something, or because he wasn't just screaming out details and stuff, they were like, it's an okay figure, it's not that amazing, but it's a nice figure. I mean, I got that one for my son, and I almost wish that I got one for myself. I became a Jaime Reyes fan after watching Brave and the Bold and playing around with this figure a little bit more, but I was always a Ted Kord fan. My son likes Jaime. He always did. Alright, so back to the subject of joints. This is the Marvel Legends Colossus. I had issues with this figure because I say he has too many joints, but look at his hips. Natural movement. You can move it up, outward, with no extra thought, nothing. And it even locks in place. It's pretty nice, right? This is the way that it's supposed to be. And it's the way it's been all across the board for years. Figures of this size should have ball socket joints and have that range of motion. It just doesn't make any sense to have anything else. The whole Y joint, it's an upside down Y essentially. You have the 2 points there, and you have a spine piece usually going through the center, not a dumbbell going across like in all the rest of these figures, or the H joint that simulates the same thing in the DCUC figures. It's the H as in horizontal and vertical cross section. There's no reason why we should be getting a switch. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's done. Plain and simple. And don't get me wrong, Hope is an awesome figure as far as sculpt goes. But as far as practical application of all the parts, I don't feel like they're doing such a good job. And, the Marvel Legends, the new Marvel Legends, all across the board, so many of them are like this. I mean, I like the Hope figure. It was one of the ones that I was actually actively searching for because I wanted to see it in real life. I dig the sculpt on that figure. It's a very nice figure. She's pretty. They did a good job actually making her look good. I can't say the same for Madame Mask and Madame Hydra. Ugh, those are some horrible figures, but look at her. That is a nice looking figure. She doesn't look too old. She doesn't look too young. She looks like she's like 18 or, maybe early, like 20 or something. And she looks pretty. She looks the part, I understand where they're going with this. But as far as how her joints work, I'm not happy. I mean, look at these Joes. Joes have always been a certain way. Same thing with the old Marvel Legends. If you already had those joints made because they own Marvel Legends, why not just take that stuff and adopt it into how things are done here, Those hip joints are just bad for business, in my opinion. They're the worst hip joints that we've received. Now, I'm still going back to it. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of these new Marvel Legends. I think that the selection of characters is not the greatest, but I have to say that Hope is not one of the worst ones. It's just those hips that all of them seem to have. So, if you're a fledgling collector, this is just information you should know. If you're a serious collector and you just didn't know, I'm just putting this out there. Not necessarily bad, but, not always that great. Anyway, I'm Strident, and I am out. Peace, people.